Alright, so I was gonna do a video on how to construct small chord progressions that have like really good sounds. So I think the main thing that I think about a lot is how like theory of chords progress as you think about them, and the way that you can manipulate like circle of fifth progressions. So for example, like the simplest circle of fifth progression would be the 2-5-1, which is like I'll play it higher. And I guess really to simplify that, the 2-5-1 progression looks something more like this. Let's see. How am I gonna do that? Inversion to. So it looks something like this. And that'd be like the 2-5-1 in like inversion, so it's all together. That's in its simplest form. What we can then do is add, like, that was just with the 1, 3, and 5 of the chord. Now you can add the 7th, and that adds a little more like texture. So and there it's it's the same thing, but with the 7ths added and it's involved. So then that's like the next layer, and then from there you add higher extensions, and as well as that you add different notes to the dominant chord. So for example, you could I'll do it in like root voicings, but you can just play 2-5-1 like, but it's kind of boring. So in jazz you add different notes to the dominant chord to add, different types of resolution back to the tonic. So for example, probably the first one that you learn is the diminished chord on the right hand. Where you normally go, but instead of doing this, you flat the 6 of the major chord, or in this case, you do the flat 9 of the dominant. And you resolve this down to the 5th. Because normally it would be a resolution like, but then instead it's but that's only just for the flatting the 6. You can add different notes to it. For example, like the 13. So normally 2-5-1 would be like this, but then you can add the 13, which would be this one. Or you can do flat 13 the same way. Or you do flat 13, flat 9. This is a good one. What's another one you can do? You can do the sharp 9, which is kind of spicy. Sharp 9 with the sharp 5. This is like my personal favorite. And this one comes from this just a little tangent, but that voicing and that right hand part comes from so you have the modes of the major scale, right? The fourth mode, the Lydian mode, is a Lydian. Wait, it's not Lydian. Well, I don't know. The fourth major mode of the scale, or the fourth mode of the major scale, is, or if you look at it in C, it's you get this chord in it. So I'm gonna do it as the fourth of the C major mode. Looks like this, which is a major 7 with a flat 5. You get this tritone here, and you can add any bass note and well, not any bass note, but like you can add different bass notes so you kind of mix the sound. So for example, you have with a minor bass, with a major third below it, you get a dominant chord. And this one sounds really nice. Like for example, I'll play a little lower. You can resolve it down to the just a whole tone down. So for example, and I use that a lot. For example, like sounds nice. But yeah, that's this. This is actually this. But then if you watch my right hand, I'm gonna move this one up an octave, move this one up an octave, which is nice. But yeah. But then what you notice is you find all these different ways to resolve your chords, and like one of the things I just showed you was the that sharp 9 sharp 5 chord with the sharp 9 and the sharp 5 here, resolving down to the minor 9, a whole tone below it. If you just look at my, if I take away my left hand and you look at the right hand, it goes, and that's its own resolution. So then what you then learn is this concept of like extension is an extension of these resolutions. So for example, you have this, or you have, or moreover, you have, let me see, how do you extend this? That's really cool. So this is a sharp 5 with the natural 5 on top. And then the 9, if you extend it, it's the same note. So let's see what I can do. So actually the extension for the 5 is this. So then it goes, fuck, I have to think a lot here. I did this, now I'm doing this. This one goes from here, it's, see, and you get another thing. I just created that, whatever, like, you know, you get this one for free now, and then you get that one for free, you get for free, or I mean, here's where you get even more fun, is you get inversions. You get which is really nice. That's another thing. And if you invert this chord, which is really nice. And you can even reduce it further where it's just right? And then you have also, you got this one. So I threw this note down to get it here, but then you also have this one. Or and you get all these different sounds just from that one, you know, resolution. So then let's go back. Like, think back, and you have the 2-5-1, right? The so let me eat some of my ramen real quick. Um, 2-5-1. And let me just isolate the right hand. But another neat thing is that the extensions alternate between minor and major. So for example, the extension of the C major is an E minor. So you have C the bass, E minor on top. But then the extensions of E minor is G major. So if you extend the C major all the way across, you get G major. So then, you know, you get this 2-5-1, and then it's you get this major 2-5-1 basically. That you can I can now pull back and now, well, what was it? It was like, let's see if I can do that here. That sounds cool. Wait, that isn't... Is that what I did? And that's just with the upper voicings. So then, last night I was working on this little like classical jazz piece with like small chords, and I did super simple. I went from C major to D minor to D diminished down back to C, and that's just the that's just like a simple representation of the. So basically I went, but then also in jazz you have this thing where you modulate to a key using the 2-5-1. So for example, I can go from C major to F by going first G, the 2 of the 2 of F, C, which is the 5 of F, to F. So then in jazz it sounds like, or I'll do it down here. But then I reduced it to extensions and just like these parts of the whole thing. and it goes. Where this was, as I showed earlier, what's the term? Inversion of the major 7 chord. And then I did the same thing, except another thing is, for 2-5-1s, the 2 doesn't have to be a subdominant, it can just be a regular dominant. So for example, right, 2-5-1, I can have the second one be dominant as well, so that's what I do again, is I just do another one of those 2-5-1s in F, back to F. So then the chords ended up looking like this is basically what I was doing is, so I went here, 2-5-1 back to C, and then I went F. I went to F from G to 7 or G to C5, F1, and I did the same thing, except the 2, which was a G, is now a dominant or a dominant, which I did this. But then with the proper basses, you'll see that it's like, I essentially did this voicing. Which is like a 2-5-1 from G, from G, C, F. But I reduced it and I got and that's kind of just like what I've been doing lately with these small chords. Essentially finding different resolutions. You find them all over the place. Like for example, you get this one, or you just have the regular 2-5-1, or you have 2-5-1 as a modulation. So it's like, and then what's the next one? So then I went up 5, C minor. So then the next one would be you can keep on doing those, and you get all these little, like, for example, there's this and there, so you can use that as a representation of this, and you get all these small chords that represent the bigger chords that you originally used to find these resolutions. So then it's like you kind of use these larger chords as like a portal to find these smaller chords, which then, for example, like that one thing I did with these are inversions of just major chords. Like this is a B major chord in inversion, and this one is an A major chord in inversion. So I basically went down like that, but with the, because I came from that original large chord, you get these things. Like the resolution sounds so much more, musical and all these different things that you want. But then you came from it from a technical place where it's like you had these like 2-5-1s. you just take little bits and pieces from it, basically at random, but obviously you can use your like artistic whatever. And you get these small chords that sound nice. So yeah, that's about it.